of all in behalf of all regular IVPN team. Before starting our session, I would like to give a brief introduction about IVPN Network. IVPN Network was founded by Dr. Osama Tabbara in 2012, and it covers all the aspects of pharmacy practice, leadership, and research. In 2020, IVPN Network started offering an additional services intended to reshape and transform different pharmacy aspects in our region. IVPN Regulatory Affairs Listserv is part of the network, and it's composed of a team of regulatory affairs experts who are passionate about healthcare regulatory affairs and led by Dr. Muna Al-Musali. Our session today is different compared to previous sessions. Usually our sessions will be purely related to regulatory affairs, quality and pharmacovigilance. But since regulatory affairs professionals have a very important role in the management, we thought that it will be beneficial for them to have an idea about stakeholder management. For that reason, we refer to our speaker, Dr. Islam Al-Bahar, the expert in the field of learning and development. Dr. Islam Al-Bahar is a passionate learning and development professional since 2012 and certified master trainer. He works to bring diverse perspectives and insights across different industries. Dr. Islam majored in veterinary medicine and experienced in pharmaceutical sales and training. Currently conducting the learning and development efforts in lead digital classified group across the MENA region. Thank you so much, Dr. Islam Al-Bahar, for accepting our invitation today. And before starting our session, I would like to ask our audience if you have any question during the presentation, you can raise your hand and unmute yourself to ask Dr. Islam, or you can write it in the chat box so Dr. Islam can answer your question and at the end of this session. Thank you so much. Dr. Islam, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kulthum, and thanks for the IVPN team for hosting me, and thanks for everyone for taking the time and actually giving thought and giving some reflections to your skills and what you want to learn and what you want to do. It's always great to see people trying to learn, trying to discuss together new ideas, and hopefully we would get some good insight from our discussion today. My name is Islam Al-Bahar, and I currently work in Bayut Bizzle. It's part of EMPG Group. It's a bit far from the pharmaceutical field I used to work in, but in the end, the stakeholder management bit, the relationship holder management bit, it's across every part of life and every disciplines of work in general. So hopefully we would have a great discussion about that. But I would really want to ask you, if you can, to be available, open your cameras so I can see the people in the session, and also try to see the faces. It always makes it easier to get the reactions, to see who's sleeping or not, and also to get your questions at the same time. So please, if you are comfortable opening your camera, be there, and at any time of the discussion you want to ask a question, have an insight on something, please raise your actual hand or raise your virtual hand, and the reactions down there. So I'm going to start now. So today we're going to talk about stakeholder management and stakeholder engagement in general, which is part of managing your stakeholders and relationships in business in general. So when I thought of talking about this subject, it is usually discussed as part of the project management literature in general. So it's part of being a project manager, managing a project. It's always put into that framework a set of skills or a set of points or checklist that I need to work on in order to keep the people in the project informed and in the loop with me all the time. But actually, stakeholder engagement is much more than that. Stakeholder management is much more than that, because it's not just about the operational part of it inside of projects. It is actually a huge part of it is the relational aspect, how I am perceived by the others, how I am being identified by everyone. What is my image that the people see when they deal with me and when they hear about me, either inside of my own organization or with my external stakeholders also. So this would be the part of the topic of the discussion today. What are the relational aspects of stakeholder management and engagement, and what are the operational aspects of it? Of course, within the operational aspects, we will explore a lot within what makes a proper in-project stakeholder engagement planning and analysis and everything a good practice, and what is the best practice usually, and what are the points that I can pay attention to in order to cover all the things that I need to know in order to move smoothly and make people comfortable and engaged as possible. But I would like to start with the most important part in my opinion, which is the relational aspect. My own image, my own awareness of how I am perceived, and what do I do on an interaction by interaction basis. So when we start thinking of the relational aspects, it goes down to my perceived personality. So the relational aspect of it is basically how I am perceived by others within the relationship in general, either internal or external. I want to throw a question out there because I'm already tired of my own voice. What do you think personality consists of in general? I'm listening.
Can I answer?
Yes, of course, anyone can.
It can be like consist of emotions,
Okay,
um,
all right,
skills.
all right.
Yeah, so
What else? We have some shy people in the chat.
yes.
Yes, beliefs. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Rafa. Who else? Moods, attitudes. Thanks, Rima. Opinions. Yes. Values, experiences. Yes. What else? What else? All right, I think that covers all of it, I believe. And these are a lot of great points, great insights. If we want to make a shortcut for them or package them in a more memorable way that is easy to remember, you would say that personality has two components: my identity and my reputation. So my identity are the internal part of the personality. This is what I keep inside, or this is what I know about myself and how I identify. I know my own opinions, I know my own attitudes, I know my moods and my mood swings at the same time. I know my beliefs, I know my values, I know what I learned from my experiences. The reputation part, this is what impacts most of everything that I deal with stakeholders or people in general. Because reputation is what is perceived about me. I might have opinions, but I don't share them properly, or I don't share them at all. So I am perceived in another way. I might have an attitude towards something positively, but I don't express that. So it appears in the other part, which is the reputation, which is the perceived image. So there's always a disparity between the person's identity and the person's reputation or perceived image. Being aware of that and being aware of these components and trying to be as much as I can, what can I say? We can say examining of my own behaviors, examining of my own interactions as much as I can to see, am I expressing my identity in the way that I really want it, or there are things that I can work on, there are things that I can tweak to build the reputation or to build the image that I want to be seen as. So basically, identity is for me, but my reputation is built by the things that I do, the things that I act on. Am I seen as the non-social person? Am I seen as the person that hates everyone in the office? Am I seen as the one that doesn't want to work on the specific thing or not? And is it because I don't do anything about it, or is it because that I don't believe the thing itself and I don't act on it because of that? So reputation defines the potential. Why? Because people don't see inside of you, because most of the time you don't actually see inside of you if you don't give yourself the time. So identity matters, but reputation defines your potential in the workplace. It defines your potential with external stakeholders. Your reputation is what gives you opportunities in general. So please be very, very careful when examining every aspect of what you express and how it actually links to the image that you want to deliver to everyone, or the image that you want to rebuild if there is a bit of misconception about your own image externally. Building your reputation puts your potential in your control. And of course, the potential is based on the other's subjective judgments. People build your own image if you are not actively building it for yourself, and if you're not actively working on expressing yourself right and paying attention to how people perceive you. So if you don't build it to yourself, your potential and your reputation is going to be built by others for you, which is not recommended in general. So that's a very important point. So I want to throw a question again at you. What impacts reputation? What impacts your perceived image with others? And please try to use microphones. If you don't have someone shouting in the back or a kid crying, please try to use your microphones. I don't like echo chambers. What impacts reputation? Yes, Rafa, please.
Actions, maybe.
Yes, your
Action.
actions
And attitude and
attitudes.
I might add your experience or how you deal with the things. For example, how you handle situations, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's any complex situation, so the regulatory person, as an example, must show his capabilities on how to handle the situation in the, let's say, the most diplomatic way to solve the issue and get the wanted results, for example.
Yes, yes. I really like when people put examples and things because it makes it live. And yes, look, you're as regulatory affairs professionals, you need to have a sea of knowledge and a sea of personal skills because you have clinical, non-clinical, legal, you have a lot of things, a lot of moving parts to deal with. And sometimes we don't pay enough attention in just the smallest situation when dealing with one customer, when dealing with a major stakeholder. It might be just a very, very simple detail in the interaction that would create an image that that person transfers to a whole hospital or a whole ministry sometimes if you don't handle that interaction right. So what impacts reputation? I need more answers, please. No one? All right, so I'm gonna get you to work with me. So what impacts reputation is not paying attention to my own actions and not paying attention to the people's reactions to my own actions. So I'm going to give you some examples and give you 5 minutes so you can get back with actually you would have a bit of thought put into the question that we're going to ask, and we can share things together as comfortable as you can. So I'll give you 2 examples. Usually within interactions with people, you would have 2 deciding factors on how you act and how you are perceived. It's either through interpersonal skills or intrapersonal skills. So interpersonal skills like approachability, my approachability. Am I an easy person to be approached or not? Am I a good listening person or not? Do I actually build relationships or not? And of course, some of it might be your personality tendency. Some of it might be the workflow that you handle in general. But these are some examples of the interpersonal between people, the things that I might have as skills or might need to work on. The other thing is the intrapersonal skills, action orientation. How can my own action orientation impact my image on others? I'll give you an example. If you're working on a project like registering something or working on something for the marketing team to work on how legal it is or whatever, and you have set a meeting, you've worked on the details and everything, and then you didn't follow up quite well, or you didn't actually follow through with the things that you needed to do. This falls under action orientation. You can be perceived that you're not an action oriented person, or you're not a very dependable person because of an intrapersonal skill that you have. It's not laziness, but you're not seen as the driven person that gets the things done. So that is action orientation. Initiative, being perceived that I actually take initiative to solve problems, to find solutions, to be creative with things, to actually share my insights on topics that people would need help before. It's initiative and it's proactivity at the same time. It might be an opportunity to grow, and it might be a strength point that I have now. Composure. Composure is of course self-explanatory. It's how do I maintain my emotional balance? Do I just lose it or not? How much do I usually lose it or not? Can I actually keep my emotions regulated? And to what extent? This also can be a strength point in me, or it can be an opportunity to grow. So these are just mere examples of the things that might happen directly as interaction with the people, or the internal things or the internal skills that might actually impact my perceived image, my reputation. All right, so I'll give everyone 5 minutes, and they're not a lot. Just please try to remember some situations. It's better be situations. It's this exercise is for you 100%. It's just a chance to actually sit and reflect and try to find a strength point that you might be seen with. It's part of your perceived identity. It's part of your reputation or image. And what can be an opportunity to grow. I don't want to say an area of improvement, because we're all areas of improvement in everything, even the good things, but an opportunity that actually happened in a situation before, or something that I feel I can work more on to make it a strength point in me, and try to get into that zone. Remember situations that you felt something not quite clicking, a situation that you felt something went amazing because of something that I am perceived as. And please, let's share together, and be comfortable, please. All right, and I'll be sharing also with you. So I'm not gonna put anyone under the spotlight. It's just an exercise for us to reflect on our own experiences. All right, can I get a thumbs up and a virtual thumbs up
Yes.
at least?
So
Thanks, Rima. Thanks, Rafa. Shayma, Hussein, Muayyad. Can I get a thumbs up that you're in the exercise with us? Hussam, thank you so much. I think maybe Shayma and Muayyad are with us also. So thank you so much, Muayyad. All right.
I just want to relate the second point. The first, the interpersonal skills, the action orientation to the regulatory affairs field. This is very important, and I want to stress on this point because in regulatory affairs, it's very important to have to be a proactive and to initiate the steps from our side and to have this strong interactions and communication skills with others within the same company or outside with other distributors, other local agents or Ministry of Health and other health agencies. So I think this is very important for regulatory affairs professionals.
Yes, yes, indeed. All right, so let's go for 5 minutes. All right,
Rima will start.
Rima, I think maybe our colleagues are, yes?
Yeah, no, I just have a comment على exercise or whatever.
Yes.
I just think there's something very important that we need to list within interpersonal or intrapersonal credibility. I think the credibility هي أهم شيء how personality أو how others sees me, especially إذا بنحكي على regulatory person. بغض النظر I'm working with private, public, health authority, multinational, whatever. I don't know where we can put credibility. لأنه with credibility, we have also to highlight the objective. I mean, when dealing with something or with any situation, I have to differentiate between the person and the work. I mean, my emotion against the actual situation. So I don't know where we can put this because for me, I think this is the main challenge a regulatory person need to keep in their mind. I have to fight for my company, but at the same time, I have to be objective, I have to be fair, I have to be credible so I can convince the other side or the other stakeholders with, I don't know what we say, مصداقيتي, how it will, how I will work on مصداقيتي. So I don't know where we can put it in the inter or the intraperson.
Yes, that's a great point, and it's a great example of a value, not just a skill, because if you are credible, if you are accountable, it actually spans everything. It spans your relationships with others, and it spans your own commitments to the things you take the decision with by yourself. So it can work in interpersonal and intrapersonal as much as you express that value. You can be seen as the accountable person, as the credible person, but I think, in my opinion, that it's internal, it's intra, but it also manifests itself in the interpersonal skills. So look, put it where you are. Is it a point that it's an opportunity to grow in, an opportunity to actually put as part of my identity, or it's already there as my strength point? I'm the one that gets things done. When people are in a hard place or they need things to be done, they look for me. Or am I be seen as the creative person? Or am I seen as the connected person? What is actually my strength point, and what is my opportunity for growth? But absolutely, credibility, accountability, and being known as these not just skills, but actually values or part of me are very important for anyone, actually, not just people in the regulatory field. So thank you so much for that insight.
I have something to add on this. Thank you, Rima.
Yes.
But I think for regulatory people, it's about your way, your continuity, and with dealing with situations and building this reputation. So it's like a mix of many things, finding the mutual ground between you and the authority and all stakeholders, and then to build this reputation over years. It's like cumulative. It be cumulative.
Exactly.
It doesn't came out from one single situation or any thought or idea. And it's cumulative, and you build this through your career path or the way that you are dealing with many people.
True.
Consistency.
True.
Thank you,
Yes,
Rafa.
exactly. Thanks, Rafa. It's about consistency. When you're ready to share, just raise your hand. Three minutes. I'm assuming that everyone is reflecting and not having dinner. So
Happy that
welcome, Khadija.
there's many people are joining now, so maybe we can tell them, because many people had entered now.
Yes.
So maybe we can get them in the discussion again. Yes, thank you.
Yes. So welcome, Khadija and Nadia, I think. I hope you can hear me
Yes,
well.
true.
Khadija and Nadia, now we are in a reflection break. We took 5 minutes, each of us, to think of what is one strength point that I am known by and part of my reputation within my stakeholders, within the people around me, a strong point that I'm known by, and one point that I think it's an opportunity to grow. And we gave examples in this slide, as you can see. It might be an interpersonal skill, like my approachability, my listening skill, my building relationships skills in general, or it can be something internal that affects my attitude and my relationship with the people, like my action orientation, my initiative, my emotional control, and my composure. So try and take a moment, a few minutes, to think of one strength point and one opportunity to grow from actual experiences that you had before with stakeholders in general. Um, this is just a small exercise for us to reflect a little bit on our perceived image and reputation. So I hope both of you got me. Thanks, Nadia. 2 minutes. Thanks, Khadija. Great. We have 1 minute. All right, who's ready? Who's ready to share? Come on. Come on, everyone. Anybody? Anybody?
I think Khadija answered in the chat box. Listening skills. Khadija, can you please elaborate more about the listening skills?
If you have your mics working, please, guys.
Or Hussam, please
Yes.
elaborate more about organization skills and finish my task on due time, meeting the deadlines. Can you please give us an example or elaborate more?
Yes, please.
Yes, please unmute yourself and you can start.
I think people think it's a singing competition, so there are no judges.
Hussam, we are waiting for you.
Yes, sorry for the delay.
Yes.
Yes, we usually have a due date for registration and for regulatory process in many countries such as KSA, UAE, etc. So you usually have due date for every submission, even with the manufacturer, in order to be precise.
Mhm.
So this is a very good skill, I believe, in order to let the manufacturer see how you are organized and you can do the task up to date. Keep your task up to date.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you
And
so much, Hussam.
any idea about an opportunity to grow?
What do you mean opportunity?
Something that you think you have noticed before that it might be something that it's an area of growth.
Yeah, well, first I'm a good learner in order to know the processes, for example, of every country and
Uh-huh.
memorize it and try to help, let's say, clients to answer our clients for any question they have regarding the processes, for example, or any other related matters.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Thank you so much, Hussam.
Yeah, you are welcome. Thank you very much.
All right, I think I can go myself, so no one would blame me in the end that I'm putting anyone on the spot. for an example, when I'm working on project in general, or when I'm working with my stakeholders, I am seen and I'm told by people that I'm easy to approach. I don't make things complicated. I don't make things hard. I'm easily approachable. But one of the things that I think it's an opportunity to grow, I have felt and heard a bit that I might be sometimes over communicating certain things, especially commitments, especially things in the project. So that might be an opportunity to grow, an area of development, that just being a bit more cautious, being a bit more attentive in the rate of communication or in the frequency of communication, to not be seen sometimes as overly communicating or pushy or whatever. All right. So the why behind this is when there was a study like a few years ago, when people actually share something, they make something like a public commitment. Public commitments are usually more deliverable by the person themselves. So actually, when I share something about myself that I'm actually committing to myself, but public commitment usually makes things happen in the future more, makes me remember it more. So the floor is yours again. Anyone please share with us? And I hope the new people, Asad and Afnan and Marian, I hope you got the idea of the exercise from the example that I gave now. So who's ready to share? Shall we go by order, or I don't?
Yeah. Marianne, Nadia, Shaima, do you have anything to share with us from your experience? And I can give one example, Islam.
Yes.
One of the weakness points in my personality is that when any of my colleagues will come and will ask me for a help in the work, I can't say I can't say no to anyone. At the end of after when I will receive so many requests to help and so many tasks, I will feel myself overwhelmed. I will have pressure. I like to help people, but before helping people, I have to make sure that I am able to do that, and I will do my responsibilities. When I saw this, I said, no, it's better to think before saying yes to everyone, and to arrange my priorities, my tasks, and my responsibilities. Then I will help others accordingly. So this is one of the weakness, I think.
Great. All right. Well, what is the shining strength?
Shining strength, I think that I am a self-committed person, and I am a responsible person. I understand the importance and the responsibility in my work. So, and I am a proactive also. So I am prepared at any time for anything. I think this is very important, especially in every field and in our field also.
Yes, and the important thing is that you are seen as such. You are seen as strong in this thing.
Yeah, I received this comment from
Perfect.
Also. Yeah.
Perfect. Great, great. Nadia sent us a comment. Nadia, all the best, and thank you for the initiative, and thanks for answering. Hopefully you get to learn something from what our colleagues are sharing today, and hopefully you get a great opportunity in the future, inshallah, from your interviews. Who else? Shaima, Afnan, Asad, Majd. All right, perfect. Look, I want everyone to be comfortable. So if you are reflecting too hard, which I think this is what's happening now, that people are really thinking about their experiences and everything. So yes, please take time and just try and make it a habit to think about the interactions that you had and how you are seen and perceived by others, which is very important. So, how can we maintain reputation management in general? All right, so I reflect and I think about the interactions that I have, and I do that and I do everything. Is there any other thing that I can do? Yes. Situational awareness is critical. And we will get back to situational awareness now, but who heard about SMART goals and SMART objectives? And I think that's not a question, because anyone who has ever lived, I think, heard about SMART like a million times. But can someone tell me what does SMART stand for? Anyone? Specific? Mm-hmm. Measurable?
Achievable,
Achievable? Thank you so much, Afnan.
relevant,
Relevant
time
or
bounded.
realistic? Yes, and timed, time bound. Thank you so much, Afnan. What does the ER stand for? Is it a
Actually,
for?
this is the first time I hear about ER.
Yes, because we know smart, but what does smarter mean? What do you think ER mean in the context of our discussion today?
Evaluated, reviewed. I just Google it.
Evaluated, reviewed. That might work in another context, but that's a good answer. It might work in another context, but we are talking about stakeholder management and relationship management and everything. So what do you think it means? ER. Is it a series? It's not series. What do you think it is? Just give it a shot. Give it a guess.
Um, shall it be related to flexibility, something related to, yeah, I think maybe, or reflection or something like this?
Yes, yes, that's very close. Thank you so much for the answer. Anyone else?
Realistic or educational.
Yes, yes. Realistic is the first R. Yes, that's a good answer. All right, I'll give you one clue.
But
Enhance.
we already have realistic. How the other R would be realistic again?
Yes, it isn't. So enhance is what? What are we talking about?
Maybe enhances our reputation and how the others see it. Maybe how to express our personality in the most proper way. Maybe.
Yes. Yes. So yes, exactly, absolutely. One thing is enhances reputation or enhances relationship. All right, so it enhances reputation or enhances relationship. I really actually need to think when I'm approaching a stakeholder that is new or known before. Does that interaction enhance my relationship with them or not? Does it contribute to the growth of the relationship or not? Is it too much not aligned with what they need and what they aspire to, or it's just for my own sake and for the sake of getting things done. I need to think before having my interactions with people. I need to have actually an objective when trying to deal with the people themselves. So yes, it's about the goal, but it's about my reputation and the relationship maintenance with people. And success is more than skill acquisition or behavioral change. It includes the you that others think, that others would like to meet, that others heard good things about, that others know that is easy and accountable and get things done, and whatever great thing about you, it's about how you manifest that. All right, I might schedule a meeting with someone because it is going to be scheduled in that time, or actually I might schedule it in a way or in a time that is best for them, that is better for the relationship to grow. So we can move from smart to smarter goals. That is relationship oriented, that is relationship focused. All right, so situational awareness, it's straightforward. It's being there and being focused in all my interactions with people, is taking a hint of their state of mind. Are they okay? Are they not okay? And also my own state of mind. Am I composed or not? Am I in a good state or not? Am I in a proper state of mind to enter in a negotiation or to ask for something, or I don't have enough energy for it now, so I'm going to lose the interaction or lose my objective if I'm not in the right state of mind. So please be aware in every situation of your current state of mind and read the state of mind of the other stakeholder. Also, the cultural aspect is very important to be aware of, and the level of connection between me and the stakeholder in that situation. Of course, are we that close? Are we not? How the conversation will be carried out. The situational awareness of the level of connection is very important, because sometimes some people wouldn't like you to be very formal with them. Some people would like you actually to be a bit easygoing, a bit listening, a bit accommodating to them according to the level of connection you have with them. And of course, their individual preferences. Is it verbal communication? Is it over the phone? It's an email? Is it a different form of individual preference for communication in general? It's very important to pay attention to that in all situations in general. And the last one is everyone's decision-making process. Because when I'm going with an objective to have some sort of commitment, I need to be aware of that person's decision-making tendency or their decision-making process. If they're hesitant, if they're skeptic, if they are having a certain process that they need to take to get into the decision at last, I cannot be expecting them to take the decision at that time, at my own time. It's about understanding the other's decision-making process in general and being aware of that in my meeting them with them now. I might not get the signature right now because I know that this is how they think, and I will be able to be adaptive in the future. So that's very important, the state of mind bit. So a very, very important things to remember, because it usually pushes us to be continuous learners, is what got you here will not get you there. The things that I did before to become what I am now, there are different skills, different things, different commitments to myself. I need to change. I need to always think about what is happening. I need to always think about my interactions. I need to always know and ask for what everyone knows and what everyone sees in me, because it's not just about what I know about myself. Am I fully aware of my own image? What is at the heart of my challenges that I face? That gives you time actually to think of your challenges, either personal or in general at the workplace? What changes could have tangible impacts? So now you are moving to the next step. What changes can make a tangible impact on the things that I do and the things that I hear about myself? And what stakeholders need to change their perspective of me? Because this is very important. You might be in a multinational company, but head of marketing or whatever, it just doesn't like my face. So I need to do something about it. So I need to know that this is a stakeholder that I need to initiate proper communication with in order to calibrate my image, in order to be the person that I want to be seen as. So it's just goes beyond, yes, knowing and planning and growing and everything. It just takes action. It just takes more awareness of what is happening around me. All right. So that's it for the first part. The first part is the relational aspect of stakeholder management. 3 points that we can take away: continuous reflection and learning about myself and about how I am perceived, having reputational vision, smarter, not just do the things, but do the things in a way that enhances the relationship, and do the things in a way that enhances my reputation. And the third thing, in order to do that, I have to be situationally aware all the time. All the time. I need to be able to read myself, read my own emotions, read my own actions, and read the people that I'm dealing with, no matter what type of stakeholder they are. All right? That's the first part. That's the relational part. The second part, which is the operational part of stakeholder management. The operational part of stakeholder management or stakeholder engagement, it's a straightforward points to know, points to do, and points to cover, and most importantly, points to actually document and work on. It's like the picture that you see. Who knows the joke or the riddle of how to put an elephant in the fridge? Who knows the answer to it?
Can I answer?
Yes?
You open the fridge, you put the elephant, and then you close it.
Bravo. Perfect, perfect. How simple was that? Was it simple?
At the first time you hear the question, it's not simple because we think about it in a way, is it reasonable or not? It's
Yes.
just not applicable. But when you
Yes.
hear the answer, you think it's a very simple answer.
It's simple, but it's hard, or
Yeah.
simple, but impossible, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. So putting an elephant in the fridge, it's simple. Just open it, put the elephant and close the fridge. It's a simple answer, not complicated, doesn't need explanation, but it's impossible to do, right? It's not the same in stakeholder management, but in any model, in any practical model that people sit down and put into a process, it's usually simple to be understood, but it's hard to do, and it's hard to keep track of, and hard to actually put the effort to do it. But this goes the same in stakeholder management. If you look at the basic stakeholder management thing, it's basically that. You just open the fridge, look at the stakeholders, know where to put the elephant between the stakeholders, find the place to put that, and then close the fridge, and that's it. If you look at it, it's the first one is identify, and then analyze. Yes, identify, open the fridge and look, identify and analyze, and then plan where to put things in order, and then engage, do the engagement itself, do the communication that you already planned. And the last thing is review, which is part of the cycle that is always going in general. So the moment you look at it, it's, yeah, just look at them, know what they are, put a plan, and then move ahead and go talk to them. But it's not that easy. It is simple, but it's not easy. So let's take them pair by pair. There are some tools in project management in general about stakeholder management. Why? Because usually when you approach people, they are usually within a context. You have a small project, a small goal that I want to get to, or a small series of goals in a group that is usually called a project in general. So in identifying and analyzing the stakeholders, it's just about asking the right questions. So the elements of identifying the stakeholders are just, you can break them down into four. Identify and clarify my objectives, that's number one, by asking questions like, what are the objectives and intended outputs of said project? Is it registering this medicine? Is it changing something in its documentation? Is it an update? What is the objectives of this project itself? And then identify the stakeholders. I need this person from DHA, I need this person in the company, I need this person in the marketing to change the pamphlet after we change the document, whatever. I need this person in that team. I need this person because he will help me or she will help me get access to that other person. So I identify the stakeholders themselves and then investigate the characteristics of the stakeholders. I need to get to know a little bit more about them and exactly what do I need to know about them. Who do I need to know about their personality, and who it's not a problem to know about their personality because it's just going to be an email communication once or twice. Who do I need to know a bit more about their schedule because I need to go to them or I need to tune things. So I need to exactly investigate the characteristics of everyone according to their influence on the project in general. So I don't need to know everything about everybody, but I need to know exactly what is needed about every different stakeholder in the project or in the initiative or in the objective that I'm trying to cover. And of course, the fourth thing I need to know is the influence and level of engagement of everyone. All right, so there are specific tips and points to know about that, but basically to know who is going to be involved, to what extent, and do I need to move them from one place of involvement to the other, and who is going to be engaged or interested in the project in general, and how can I maintain them or use the best of their engagement or use the best of their interest in the project. That's basically it. So identify and clarify the objectives, open the fridge, identify the stakeholders, look inside the fridge, investigate the characteristics, measure the places that you're going to put the elephant in, and then identify the influence and levels of engagement of people. That's basically the elements of the stakeholder identification and analysis. All right, so I got them, I know the people, so I start analyzing them. A very good thing that can help you in analyzing stakeholders in projects in general is this model. It's called the Rasky model. It's basically to know who is responsible about something in the project, which these are the people that are going to be hands-on in the project. So who has some sort of responsibility about the project itself. And the second thing, which is the A, who is accountable for the project outcomes. So who is going to be accountable and asked about the project deliverables and the project outcomes? Who is going to be responsible for and accountable about the end goal of the whole project in general? So who is going to be hands-on? That's the people that are responsible on parts of it, and who's going to be accountable about the end goal in general. And support, who's going to be supportive of the project in one way or another, either by connections or either by facilitation of something, but they don't have to be responsible about part of the project. Who can be consulting me in that project? Who can I actually have their experience in? And the last one is the I, who needs to be informed about the project and the updates of the project, and what are those exactly? All right, so again, this part, which is the operational part of stakeholder engagement and management, it's all about trying to cover as much knowledge points as I can. All right, So involvement levels and engagement levels, these are two things that I can actually know where people are standing from the places that I want them to be. All right, so that's the first thing, is the involvement levels of people in the project in general. The second thing I need to know is the engagement levels of people. What do you think engagement levels might mean? And do you think of any examples? How engaged someone can be in a project?
Can I?
Yes, please.
Yes, I think that like we the people depending on their experience and their knowledge, so so we can engage them in the project.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Who else? Anyone? Yes, Afnan, please.
I think that engagement levels depending on the responsibility accepted from the persons inside the project. For example, if there is one person I need some documents from, or to provide me with some guidance, or this section is a responsibility for an external department, I expect them to be engaged in the first level, for example, and second level to continue the process based on the responsibilities I expect from other departments. I expect them to be engaged.
All right, that's a great example. Thank you so much, Afnan. Who else?
If no one wants to talk, I might add that there's might be some sort of connection between each individual's lifelong purpose and his career path. So if he's working in a career path that he loves, or it's connected in some in any way with his lifelong purpose, for example, in the pharmaceutical industry, why are you working out? Why did you enter this field from the first? It differs with how everyone would perceive the tasks that he's responsible about. So maybe if these his career path and the maybe the tasks that are required in this, for example, job, if it's connected or it's related to the values and inner beliefs for that person, maybe his engagement levels would be increased. Or if there's any benefit, for example, if this one is working to make money for his family or to raise his kids, maybe this way we are increasing the engagement levels in a huge way. So we need to know the keys maybe, or to find the keys for each personality, so we can know how to approach and how to deal with different character, for example. And it has to do, I think, I'm not sure about this information, but maybe with the personality style that everyone has. So when you know how to communicate in a proper way, maybe you will deliver your message in a good way, and maybe it would be very specific, and you would get maybe the results that you are seeking for.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's great insight, because actually, look, it's more about knowing where they are coming from or what they come from in general. So it might be knowing someone's passion, knowing someone's history or something, or knowing their personality style. Because like a major stakeholder might not be involved in the project, or might actually have a low engagement level because they don't believe in that molecule that you want to register, for an example.
Yes, for sure.
And for because of their history or something, that they don't believe in that. So that's one thing. Maybe because they had a bad experience with some in your entity before, or whatever. Maybe because your styles don't match. So yes, exactly. It's just about knowing where people come from in general, sometimes, especially for the major stakeholders. So for engagement levels, the stakeholder might not even be aware of the project yet. So I wrote their name in the stakeholder analysis, but they're not yet communicated about the project. So I would know that I would need to communicate with them about the project. So they might not be engaged at all. They might still be unaware of the objective, the next objective. And I need them in that based on my analysis of the stakeholders. The second type is resistant. Like the example that we got, yes, they know about the project, they're communicating and everything, but they're not engaged because they are resistant to the end goal, resistant to because of an unexplained reason that I need to explore more. But that's an engagement level that I need to know, is that stakeholder resistant or not? Or they might be neutral. All right, so they know about it, so they need to know what is next, and I need to approach them normally. Or they can actually be supporting. They believe in the new medicine that you're working on. They believe in the process. They believe in the quality of your company. They are supporting of the idea. To some extent, actually, some stakeholders I might find when I'm analyzing my circle, I can find actually that there are some stakeholders are already contributing to the process, and they don't even need to. They're consulting. They are consulting like in an involvement level. They're trying to help me. They're trying to make a call. They're trying to do something. So they might be actually contributing. The idea about analyzing the stakeholders, I put their name and I actually know, are they in or out? What do I need to do to make them not resistant? What do I need to do to make them supporting? Sometimes you don't need them to be supporting or contributing. Sometimes you need the signature. Sometimes you need the okay. Sometimes you need an email to be sent from their side. So it's just about knowing. And knowing the proper engagement and involvement levels are very important when you are analyzing the names of your stakeholders. All right, so these are the engagement levels. Last but not least, the interest rate and the influence rate of the circle or the stakeholders around me. So after I know my stakeholders, I put the names, I know who's there, who's not there, who's going to be hands-on, who's not going to be hands-on. This usually comes when you are initiating the project. So you would know who has interest to be part of the project and who has influence on the project, no matter interested or not. Who's going to give me the signature, who's going to give me the green light, who's going to impact my work directly or indirectly. So I need to know who has influence and who has interest in the goals that we're going to achieve. All right, so this is called the Mendelow's matrix of stakeholder analysis. So it breaks these down into a matrix to actually give you one advice in the end. If the stakeholder is high interest and high influence, they are highly engaged in the project and they have high influence on the outcome of the goal, they impact the decision in the end. So I need to manage them closely. I need to have proper, continuous communications and updates, and I need to make them in the loop all the time and make the decisions that they take based on the outcomes that we are working towards. So manage closely who is highly interested and who is of high influence to the outcomes. If they are highly interested, but they have low influence in the decision making, what do I need to serve? I serve their interest, right? Because they are interested to know about the project, but they don't have a lot of influential decisions. But I don't need to lose them at the same time. So how do I cater to them? I keep them informed, because the important thing from their point of view is knowledge, because they are highly interested, right? Let's take the other part of the equation. If they are Low interest but high influence, I need to keep them satisfied. Why? Because they have influence on the decisions that lead to the final goals. So the keep satisfied parts of the stakeholders, when they have low interest, but they have high influence on the outcomes. The last one, which is low interest, low influence. They don't care and they're not involved as much. These are the ones that I don't waste too much energy with. These are minimal contact, but I try not to lose them from the loop, because once you put them as stakeholders, they will serve some function at a certain time. They might be low in interest and low in influence, but you put them there for a reason. When you are putting they might be a gatekeeper, they might be someone that might help you, they might be only a consultant. That yes, they are low interest because they have a lot to do, and they have low influence because they're not actually in the project. But I put that name because actually I need to do some minimal contact with them that will give me some return, which is help with something, have a better idea about something, or access to someone sometimes. So that's it. When you know the levels of engagement of your stakeholders, and you know the levels of involvement in the project they are, then you can think of how influential they are in the process and in the decision. All right. So I'll try to give you an example so it wouldn't be that vague. And I hope also one of you might give me an example from a project that you're working on, medicine, whatever you're working on. Try and find an example for it. So I'm currently working on a program, internal program for leadership development in general. So for me, when I sat and put the names of the people that I'm going to be contacting and that I'm going to be working with, the person that came as managed closely, it's a person that is my colleague that is called Edward. He's working with me directly on the structure of the program, the working with the stakeholders, working with the heads of departments, working with the leaders in general to get the project actually up and running in general. So that's a person of high interest, high involvement in the project, and he has high influence because he's actually doing the things along with me. So that's a person that I need to manage closely. I need to maintain everything on the loop with them. On the keep informed, they are high interest but low influence. All right, high interest but low influence. These are sometimes some of the head of departments that they have great experience and they have contributed to leadership coaching and training before, but they're very interesting in the project that we're doing for the company, but they don't have influence, they don't have decision-making privileges in the project in general. We can actually do it however we want as HR, as a training and development department, but it's very important to keep these people informed because they will be involved to some extent. I can actually have them as coaching or mentoring people during the program for the junior leaders. So that's another example of someone that is interested in the project outcome, but they don't have enough influence. I need to think about these people when I'm working on a project. Keep satisfied, which is low interest but high influence. That's basically for me. It's the CEO. He has so many things to do, so he's not directly involved in the process itself. So low direct interest in the project because of the low level of involvement, but of immensely high influence. So I need to keep him satisfied in order to get the proper approvals, to get the budgets, to get the things that we want to do. So that's low interest, low involvement, but high influence. And of course, the minimal contact, which is low interest and low influence. That's for me currently, it's the design team, because I might need their help sometimes in the future. Because I know that I have two designers, but one of them is actually going on leave after a month or two. So I will need them in the future to help me with some of the design. So I need to know actually that, because I will need that person in a month or two down the line within the timeline of the project. So it's very important to actually think and put the names of the people that I will work with and know how influential they can be to my outcome of the project. So I hope that that example clarified it a little bit. I will really, really appreciate if some of you relieved me of the sound of my voice and gave me an example of an actual project that they are working on. Anyone?
Anyone? Afnan, Nadia, Asad, Khadija.
Like any medicine that you're registering now, any just give an example. It's all right. Yes, Rafa, please.
I'll not be speaking about medicine registration, but
No
if we speak about hospital, like as if I'm managing a patient, let's say in a hospital, so can we put the manage closely is the patient as they are of high interest and high influence. Then maybe the high interest and low influence will be the employees, sorry, the nurses, and if I'm managing a hospital, let's say, and keep satisfied can be the authorities, the with low interest and the high influence. Minimal contact might be for marketing agencies or something like this, or insurance, for example.
All right, so you might need them, but they're not involved and not influencing the process itself.
Insurance, they can influence and they might have interest, so we cannot include them here. So maybe this will be yeah, marketeers maybe, or something like this.
All right. Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
You are the expert. No, it's not like there's no wrong answer. It's about your judgment to keep them in the loop or not.
Yeah, because if we are speaking about managing a patient in a hospital, the cycle of patient or the life journey of a patient, then the marketing will not be having that much interest nor influence.
Yes, that's true. Thank you so much for the contribution.
Most welcome.
I think Khadija put something. Would you like to share something, Khadija? So you put intra-articular injection registration, only the classification is done. Can you elaborate on that?
So Khadija, how can we relate this the process of medical device classification to clear the product to the concept explained by Dr. Islam? Can you please elaborate more? Okay.
I think she might need a bit more time to remember all the stakeholders and their places, and so it's all right. It's all right. So thank you so much, Rafa, for the example.
I can give another example.
Yes, please.
Allow me, Islam. I will give an example for the high influence, low interest. When one of the multinational companies tried to market their product, it was injection, subcutaneous injection for migraine since around 4 years. It was a new idea for the doctors. and there was like a huge need for the product in the market, but it was a new idea. So the company targeted the doctors and all the different departments in the company: marketing, regulatory affairs, market access, targeted the doctors to increase the need, to create the need, and this concept of the subcutaneous injection for migraine indication, and they did this successfully. So this is one examples, life examples.
Yes, yes, that's right. And in the end, if you think about it, it's the decision of someone who sat down and tried to know where do I need to position these stakeholders in general.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that example. So I hope this part is clear. The operational part of stakeholder engagement, the elephant part, I need to sit down, know the objectives, know my stakeholders, know exactly what do I need to learn about every one of them, know their level of involvement in the project, level of engagement in the project, and know exactly how would they influence and how much they're interested, so I can actually put the effort in the right place with each one of them.
Yes.
So that was the part of the stakeholder identification and analysis. So let's move to the other part, which after I know all these great things, I need to plan and engage, right? This is a straight, simple part. Planning and engaging. When I'm engaging my stakeholders after I know everything about them, so when I'm planning exactly, so I need to know the current and the desired engagement levels, so I can see who's unaware that I need to move into neutral or I need to have as a supporter, who's there, who's not there. So I need to know the current and the desired engagement plan. So I need to plan for every one of them. After the analysis, I need to put, okay, so this person I need to start communicating with. This person I need to make less communications with because of the objective or so. The second part, the interrelationships between the stakeholders themselves. The club of the pediatrics, the club of the orthopedics, these things are very important because access points and people influence each others. Communication requirements of each one of them. This needs to be put in the plan actually. So Dr. Kulthum, communication requirements. So I need to meet in person, or I need to email, or I need to give a phone call, or I need to talk to someone to talk to them. I need to put that in my plan actually. And I need to put that besides their relationships, their influence, and their engagement level. I also need to put potential management strategies for each one, which is the encompassing thing for communication, for everything. The last thing is the methods for updating the stakeholder management plan. This means I need to have a written stakeholder management plan, which is basically, I think most professionals do, is you will have a log, you have something. If you have a CRM, yes, it's there. But if you don't, you must have a plan that is in a sheet or in a program or an internal application or so. I need to actually decide on the method that I'm going to be updating my interactions, my trials to interact with them, or my actions actually, and the updates to the other parts of the plan. So that's the part of engagement strategies and engagement plans in general. The other thing that I need to know a little bit about is engagement strategies. Engagement strategy basically is the end goal of the interaction with the stakeholder. When I'm putting a plan, I need to know who I'm getting in touch with to build a relationship, and build it on what, and what is the objective. The strategy might be leveraging someone's power, or leveraging someone's knowledge, or leveraging someone's connection, or whatever. So is my strategy to build a relationship with that person, or to leverage something they have? Is it to exchange something, my engagement strategy with them? Is it to exchange knowledge, or to exchange anything that they need in place of the service that I'm going to need from them? Or is it to support? I need them to support me in some way or another. Or I need to reshape the previous not pleasant experience that they had, or I need to reshape the image that they have about me or the company or the drug or whatever. So I need to have a proper engagement strategy with my stakeholders. So that's basically the second part, which is we try to cover all the points that we need in order to put a proper plan. The relational part of stakeholder engagement and the operational part of the stakeholder engagement within projects or within specific objectives. That's it. And please, if you have any questions, I'm really happy to take them now. And if you have any insights from what we had today, also please share them with us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Islam, for the valuable information. Really, it was interesting.
Thank you.
And if any of the attendees have any question, please, the floor is yours.
Afnan, yes, please.
First of all, thank you very much for the topic. It's very interesting and it's very insightful and full of information. And your style is very clear. We understand everything. I just have a few questions because during this lecture, I am actually reflecting on my job or on some project or tasks I was taking into consideration. Sometimes regarding identification the stakeholders, I think that it's maybe it needs some experience or level of experience or by trial. Yani sometimes I start a project and then one of the stakeholders delay the project or something like this. How can I identify stakeholders correctly? And how can I predict or know their level of engagement? By asking or by a meeting. Sometimes one of the major stakeholders, I call him, I try to connect with him, I set a meeting, he doesn't reply at all, he ignores everything. And he's one of the people that I need their signature or I need their information. How can I do that in a better way or to be attainable for something like this?
Yes, thank you so much for the question, Afnan. It's part experience and it's part just being there and being as aware as possible, because not everything you can know at the beginning of the project. You will need to try and you will need to ask questions. You'll need to ask people. You will need to give it time. And sometimes you don't have that time, I understand. But it basically goes down to this. When I have a new project or I have something that I need to do, which is a task, whatever the task nature is, identifying my stakeholders is basically sitting down and thinking of what is the circle around me that I will need in that project and to what extent. So I just sit down. This colleague might help me get access to this hospital's CEO or this hospital's department X. This manager in this place, I need them for a signature. This person might help me reach that manager somehow if I don't get to them. I need to know the people within my organization, even my manager, to what extent can they actually be involved in the process? Are they just there for support, or can they actually get their hands in with me? I need to know all of that. But Afnan, we usually don't know all this from the starting point. We just try to cover everything we can realistically and then move on from there. I might not realize that a specific stakeholder is very important unless I just start and do 1 or 2 steps in the project and then find out about that new stakeholder. And then I will need to learn more about them. what do they know, what do they need to know, and who do they know. So it's part experience, yes, and knowing what happens and what are the people around me, and how many connections do I have. But it's just about asking the right questions time after time. So we always get frustrated when stakeholders postpone the millionth time, but sometimes we just need to actually know why, because everyone has competing priorities. Everyone has a number two. Everyone, if they don't, not everyone has a number two, to be honest. Like most of the people have a number two or have a gatekeeper somehow. And most people have people that know who they are and know how to help you access them. Sometimes it's just a perception, sometimes it's just a first interaction that wasn't right. Sometimes you have bad luck because you caught them in a bad time. It's just about being there and actually finding out why and trying in another way or trying more in the same way if you don't have other options. So it's just about persistence, and it's just about sitting down, getting the pen and paper or the sheet and the keyboard, and actually trying to unload all the things you know somehow to try and connect them. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you very much. I
Yes,
have
thanks.
another question.
Yes,
If
please.
it's possible.
Yes. Yes.
How can I, maybe you discussed this, but I entered late.
Mhm.
How can I change how people perceive me? If I want to change my image or something about how they perceive me, how can I do that? And what does it take a long time, or it depends about the people I am dealing with?
That's a good question that I think all of us usually wrestle with. It starts with knowing what they think and why did that happen. If I can know, right, I can always know what people think about me. This is 100% sure. I can always know. I might not know why they think that. This will need a bit more investigation, but a lot of the times it might be a bad first impression, an interaction that was unlucky, something that I actually did without paying attention, somehow that built that image about me. But it starts with knowing what it is that is my perceived image. The second thing, trying to know the reason for it in order to know what action I can take to reshape that image that is there. For example, if I'm seen as the like the what we can say, the uneasy person to deal with. All right, is it because my interactions, or it because I don't try to talk to people, or is it because I try to talk to people, but it's usually not in the right way, or I don't communicate well, or I don't know enough about the different personalities of the people I work around, so I don't try and calibrate myself with everyone or try to adapt to everyone's style. So it just starts with knowing what is known and trying to actively work on it. So I need to work more in um, my self-presentation? Do I need to work more on the frequency I talk to people with? I give them an example that I know that sometimes I'm perceived as just the pushy guy that is always chasing around the tasks and stuff. So I need to know that, and I need to know why. Was it because the communications, how many, what is the right amount to do? And I need to try and start experimenting with that, lowering the frequency maybe, trying to know who said that. So they prefer less communications, but the others are okay with it. So it's just about sitting down and trying to analyze what happens. Um, I hope that answers it, Afnan. I think we got a note from Asad. Well, I came from a different sector, but the discussion was really loaded with ideas. Oh, thank you so much. I thought I came from a different sector, so I have another question, but thank you so much for that. And thanks, Rafa. Anyone else has any questions? Please go ahead.
Any other question? Okay, so we don't have any other question.
All right.
Thank you so much, Dr. Islam.
Thanks everyone for taking the time and actually giving your time and efforts to discuss something new. It's always amazing to see people trying to learn more. And I learned a lot from your notes and your comments today also. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We learned from you also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Thank you so much.
Goodbye, everyone.